everybody, welcome back to our channel, We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And here is our non-spoiler review of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, and stars Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Jude Law, Lashana Lynch, and Clark Gregg. Well, I think you and I both have done enough trailer reaction to Captain Marvel to say that we are pretty excited to see this movie, especially because of the end credit, you know, the beeper scene before.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry if that's a spoiler, but by now I hope you would have seen Infinity War.
If you're watching a review for Captain Marvel, it probably means you're into some Marvel movies.
But anyways, there's a beeper scene, exactly. There's a beeper scene at the end of Infinity War that got us all very excited about Captain Marvel. So, with that said, what was your anticipation going into this movie?
I was actually really excited for it. You know, all of the trailers were really awesome. It looked like it had some great special effects. Brie Larson looked, you know, just intense and just fierce. So, I was a little nervous about some of the dialogue and how they were kind of, it seemed like they were hiding Brie Larson for a while, but...
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, sure.
But I have to admit, when I went in and saw it, I enjoyed it, and I really liked it. I
really like Brie Larson, and I know she's been, you know, and I think a lot of people paid attention to her after Room came out, after she won, but she's been acting a long time, and I really do like her as an actress, so when they cast her as Captain Marvel, I wasn't like, oh, I really wanted this person. I was totally okay with it because I knew that she could perform. And what I really like the most about this movie, aside from the fact that we got another origin story that it's a female-led superhero movie, is the relationship between Brie Larson, aka Carol Danvers, Carol Danvers, and Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. This is definitely the buddy cop type movie that I didn't know that I needed, but definitely want in my life. Yeah, the banter back and forth between the two of them is really fun and entertaining. And Samuel L. Jackson really does a good job on kind of playing a little bit goofier of a character. Younger Nick Fury.
A younger, more innocent kind of Nick Fury, if you want to say that. If Nick Fury was ever really innocent. I don't know.
He seemed a little like a chip on his shoulder, a little bit jaded already at this point. But I think the events leading up to where Nick Fury, we know, today kind of started building from Captain Marvel.
Yes, but I also really liked the whole kind of story that they had with him. They kind of gave a little bit of his background on where he's been and what he did, and I'm like, okay, I like that part about this.
Yeah, and to give you a little bit of insight on the Captain Marvel story, it's based around Carol Danvers. So in the trailer, what we've seen, she is a part of the Kree. She doesn't really quite know who she is. She's getting these dreams and flashes of her past. She thinks she's had a life on Earth. No one's really telling her the truth. So who is she? Where does her power come from? And that is her origin story. We kind of go from there. So in the trailer, we saw her fall into a blockbuster, go ahead.
They have a lot of 90s references in this movie, and a lot of them are really fun. However, I do believe in some points they were starting to beat it over the head just a little bit. They were going a little bit too far, kind of like I anticipated these 90s references to be in there. But I have to admit, overall, I liked them, I enjoyed them, because I'm very much a 90s guy. You know, that's kind of
the age. Kids.
That's kind of the age that we grew up, you know. So with all the references, but also the soundtrack.
Yes.
I have to admit, that was an awesome soundtrack, especially for some of the action scenes.
Yeah. It wasn't like a cinematic, I mean, yes, the score is great, but the soundtrack, all the 90s hits, and I was like, I did not realize how much I enjoyed all of those songs until I thought I enjoyed them thoroughly, but like this movie, I was like, yes, I need a Captain Marvel playlist right now. So that's what I'm listening to on Spotify right now. So this movie not only touches on Captain Marvel's origin, Carol Danvers finding out who she really is, where she comes from, it also has a lot of kick-ass battle sequences.
Oh my gosh, and that is, definitely one of the standouts.
I love so many of them, and I don't want to give too much away because this is a non-spoiler review, so I want to talk about the one that we did kind of see in the trailer, and I'll elaborate on a little bit, and that is on the, is it a train or a subway?
Technically it would be like an
the old lady
it's like
in
an
the face.
Amtrak, I guess.
Right.
I guess it'd be more
like
a train.
Metro type of thing. So yeah, that sequence and it's very compacted because it's inside a train or an Amtrak or a Metro. It's very small, and it's only between her and the I will say the old lady for now. And it's just amazing because there's a lot of movement. They're inside the train, then she's outside of the train, and then she's in another car. There's just a lot going on. And this is what I liked about this movie is there is all the action sequences are so much, I mean, as they are in a Marvel movie, I guess, but they're so much fun to watch, and they don't really let Captain Marvel, because she's very powerful, but in the very beginning, they don't really let her have it too easy, especially in that one scene. That she definitely got hit a couple of times, and I kind of enjoy seeing, like, an even field type of battle scene, rather than just the good guy being all powerful and winning the entire time.
Yeah, true. It's great to see that in every fight there was kind of a reason for her to not be able to go her full powers. But that's not my favorite fight scene. Wasn't actually on the Amtrak or on the Metro train. Mine was this, you kind of see a little bit in the trailer where she's fighting all of these Skrulls and it's kind of in a hallway. I like this one the best because the fight choreography itself is really crisp, really fun, and it kind of had a little bit of like that Daredevil hallway scene, and I thought that was awesome. And it looks like Brie Larson did a lot of her own fighting. Yeah,
I mean, did you see the Instagram video where she like was pushing a car?
No.
Oh, I gotta show it to you. Like, that was a part of her training. She was pushing I don't think it was a truck, but I think it was like a Jeep or something like that. And she
that's
like
cool.
was like actually pushing, and I was like, wow, you go, girl. That's some hardcore superhero training. I love the sequences, and especially, and you saw this in the trailer too, when she was in her full Captain Marvel suit with the helmet, hair, and everything, and she was just like up and away, higher, further, faster, and she just looked so good, and it just gives me so much more excitement for Endgame because she's gonna be involved with it, and I am already ready to see her battle Thanos.
Yep. So the action was really good. However, there were some parts that did kind of pull me out of it. But this is probably going to be specifically just to me. What they ended up doing with the Skrulls and the kind of the story arc that they kind of do with the Skrulls really did kind of throw me off because they really do take a completely different direction with the Skrulls than they do in the comic books. And I love what they did with the Skrulls in the comic books. I'm a huge fan of Secret Wars, the fact that they are the galaxy's greatest infiltrators, the greatest spies.
Because they're shapeshifters, right?
And they do a lot more with being able to actually copy memories of people to make them almost like 100% unidentifiable from the people that they are taking, the people that they're copying, so to speak. And it's not the fact that they made a bad choice or they did it in a wrong way. It was the fact that I was so attached to that storyline and I wanted to see that, and those are the moments I want to see, and those are the kind of characters I want to see, that it was very hard for me to accept this twist that they did on the characters and accept the way, like, for example, the lead Skrull was... Oh, crap, I can't remember.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, no, Ben Mendelsohn, but the one that his character that he was playing.
But... IMDb,
the way that he kind of pulled off his character and with the way that he kind of makes a shift at the end or something, it threw me off because that wasn't what I was expecting. It's kind of like what happened in Iron Man 3 with the...
Whiplash, was it?
No, with the Mandarin. But that was a bad example of it. What they do in this one,
it's not like that.
it's a good change, and it just took a little bit out of me to be able to accept the change that they did. So if you're a big fan of the comic books, go in prepared for a little bit of a change to the story and to the characters of the Skrulls.
You know, I can see something like that completely shifting someone's rating or likability to this movie is like when you, and this is kind of like the danger, the good and bad thing about doing superhero movies is you have all of this source material that's been around for a long time. You have fans who love these storylines, and when you say Captain Marvel, the Kree is in this, the Skrulls are in this, great, and people immediately have this expectation of a specific storyline that they would like to see play out on screen, and when they don't get quite what they were looking for. Because we were never technically promised, right? No one ever promises you're going to get this exact storyline. You hope that this is what we get to see play out. And when you don't, some people take it better than others. Other people are quite disappointed, and then therefore they give, then the movie is bad for them. And I'm not saying there's a right reaction or there is a wrong reaction. There is just a reaction to whatever it is that you see on screen. And I think that's kind of the problem we have with superhero movies is you can't please everyone.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
kind of
sometimes,
impossible.
yeah, and sometimes I kind of enjoy being the person that don't really know the source material, be super familiar with it, so I am not kind of disappointed. So all in all, I did find Captain Marvel to be very entertaining. It's a lot funnier than I expected, because in the trailer they made it a little bit more serious, and this one they had I was like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this funny. I didn't think the banter was going to be this great. So I enjoy that aspect of it. I am seeing reactions on Twitter that people are saying the second half is better than the first half, or the first half is slower. In my experience, in my film watching experience, I really didn't feel that. I felt like the first half was a nice steady build up to why she is searching for what she's searching for. Where is she? Where did the power come from? Her building a relationship with Nick Fury, Maria Rambeau and her relationship, being able to see all of that, I kind of enjoy. I thought it was really even pace. Do I think the second half is more exciting? Yes. Do I think the first half was bad? No, I don't.
The one last thing that I had a problem with Captain Marvel was the fact that it had a few moments where it suffered from prequel syndrome, to where they want to explain how things are in movies that came before it, but later in the timeline. Kind of like how Jack Sparrow got all of his costume stuff, how Han Solo got his gun. We don't need to see that. And there was a few things that they did where I was like, why did you do that?
Yeah, that's the biggest flaw. I had totally agree with you. There's a one point. I don't even want to say it has to do with a certain character or something. Yeah, because
it's going to be a spoiler.
It's just something that they did that explained how something or somebody got something or somebody. Trying to be really vague and it's sounding weird, but stay with me here, guys. I just didn't need to see that. I would have been fine. And knowing that how it happened in the movie is not how it happened in the source material, so that kind of took away from that. And it kind of goes back to the point of what we were talking about the source material and seeing a certain storyline play out, and it didn't. So this is kind of my experience with it. I did not like it one bit. When I saw it, I was like, are we really doing it this way? I don't like it. Immediately knocked down my experience a little bit. I mean, overall, I still enjoyed the film. Yeah. But it kind of left a little bit of a blemish on this movie for me. I'm like, why does it have to be this way? Why do we have to see certain things?
We don't need to know that.
We just don't need to know that. And so if you want to really know what we are talking about, we will be shooting a spoiler review for our Patreon page. So go ahead and check that out. We will put that in the description below, and that's for our $3 tier patrons. Okay, so coming back to the review. With that said, I think this is a good time to wrap up our overall thoughts. So, also, we have to talk about this because you saw it in 3D and I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Wendy and I got invited to the Real D 3D screening. What is that called? The screening...
the headquarters.
Screening headquarters. Yeah. And they have amazing 3D. Some of the best that I've ever seen.
But I didn't go with you.
No, I went by myself. You got to see it in 2D. I saw it in 3D. And... now, the stuff that they have for Real D 3D is actually really good, but I don't think Captain Marvel was actually made in order to actually emphasize the 3D.
As opposed to some of the other superhero films that we've seen in 3D.
Like Aquaman put some of those 3D really gags and 3D. Gimmick in there, so it really did push the 3D.
I think Alita Battle Angel as well.
Alita Battle Angel, How to Train Your Dragon, all kind of take the idea of 3D and utilize it to its best or for its gags and gimmicks. Yes. Captain Marvel, even though it was stunningly beautiful, it had great visual effects. I mean, flawless makeup on the Skrulls.
Oh, so good.
But honestly, it didn't really like use it.
Yeah.
It didn't really like emphasize.
I mean, I don't know why I'm agreeing with you because I didn't see it. I think I'm just acknowledging.
So overall, I'm like, you know, if you want to see it in 3D, go check it out. But if it's something that you're like, you know what, I don't really like 3D, then don't bother. It's not one of those movies that I'm like, yes, see
Save
it
your
in 3D.
3D money for another movie. I would say. So what would be your rating for Captain Marvel?
I thought there was a lot of really fun moments. I liked the banter. I love the relationships. I love the action. I love the visual effects. I thought there were some storyline plots and some diversions that happened. Moments that happened, I'm like, why did you do that? It kind of pulls me. It affects me a lot more than it does a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. But I also really liked the modern day references that they had, like to issues that are going on today. I'm not going to say anything, but they're good. Some of women empowerment, refugees, mm-hmm. kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And I thought those played in very well. But overall, I'm going to give this a check it out. I liked it. I thought it was fun. There's some flaws that made me pull me out of it every now and again. But overall, check it out.
I had a lot of fun with this movie from beginning to end. Yes, there was one tiny little blemish on it that made me kind of go, why do we have to do this? And something I can't even talk about until we get to our spoiler review. But I enjoyed this movie so much. She kicked so much butt. She looked fantastic. Stay for 2 end credit scenes.
Yes.
It's not a spoiler. I'm just trying to help you out.
So you don't walk out.
Yeah, exactly. I love Goose. We need to talk about Goose. Goose was fantastic.
Such a cute little kitty.
I love all the actors that are involved in it. I like all of them. Jude Law, Ben Mendelsohn, Annette Bening, Maria Rambo, Lashana Lynch.
I think so.
So Brie Larson, of course, Samuel Jackson, Clark Gregg, all of them are fantastic. Seeing them all together, and I feel like this movie really rounded out the MCU as we know today, and it kind of gives it like a full circle to me. So I love this movie, and I had so much fun with it, and I'm going to give this a catch it opening night. Well, you guys, that's it for our non-spoiler review. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to share and subscribe. If you want to check out our spoiler review, that will be up on our Patreon page, so just go ahead and click the link down below. And again, that's for our $3 tier patrons. If you want to see what we're up to day to day, follow us on social media. You can follow me at Wendy Lise, you can follow Dustin at SwingKey1981, or us at The Movie Couple, and that's on both Twitter and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.